have 4 different add-ons on Marketplace, and they all work for Jira. And just a little facts about us. We have more than 6,000 customers, and we have sold licenses to over 100 countries, and have 90 partners all over the world too, that help us sell and promote Tempo products. And as he introduced me, we come from Iceland. So Tempo is based in Iceland, and we have today over 70 employees. Here's just one slide to introduce some of our customers. So we have top customers and many more. These are just names that we are hoping people know. And as Jira, our products are built for business. We of course love Jira, and that's why we started to develop add-ons for Jira. First we started to develop Tempo timesheets just for internal use, but then we have expanded to 4 products, Tempofolio being the latest one. So it's difficult to introduce 4 products in 20 minutes, and instead of demoing the products, I'm going to show you how they work for these different roles within a company. So we have executives, team members, project managers, account managers, and team leads. And the products can work for all on different levels. First, I'm going to show you how it can work for executives and managers. And you can basically use all the products for the benefits of executives. And we believe that Tempo products brings more value to the company and to the Jira. So when you add Tempo, you get more value out of the products. So for executives, we have performance and utilization reports that is part of Tempo books. We have project and portfolio overviews, which is based on Tempofolio. Then we have the program overview from Tempo Planner, and account and customer reports from Tempo timesheets. First, to show you the utilization reports, which are from books. So in Tempo books and in all products we have teams, so it's based on teams. You create your team, you add team members to your team. And in Tempo books you can add price rates to the team members. So that's basically the billing rate if you are in the business of selling hours. And here we are viewing the team utilization report, and we are viewing it on a weekly basis and hours per week. We have a similar report, the same report actually, but we are viewing team members by percentage. So you can see how the team members are utilizing their time. For example, if we look at Paul, this is Paul here, and we can see that he has billable hours, and maybe that's what we are aiming for. We want to bill hours to make money. So this can be viewed to see if we are achieving the goal of billable hours, for example. The next slide is showing the Tempofolio overview. So in Tempofolio we can create folios, which are basically projects from the project management perspective. The reason it's called folio is because Jira has taken the project concept and is using it differently. So we have folios. And I know this is pretty small, so if anyone is interested in looking at this in more detail afterwards, you can come and talk to me and I can show it to you. So basically in folio, you create a folio to manage your project, and you will see the real-time status of the project down to currency. So you have cost rates and price rates for all the employees participating in the project, so you know if you are losing money or earning money for the project. And we also have, looks similar, this picture, but this is a portfolio overview. And in portfolio, we are grouping together folios. So if we have multiple folios or projects executing, we can group them together in one portfolio and view it together in one overview page. And you can see where the red box is that there are 2 folios linked to this particular portfolio. And we can see at a glance the status of the portfolios. And if there comes a warning sign if we are behind schedule or over budget or something is wrong. In Folio we have some predefined reports. So it's easy to get reports out of Folio. Some of them are customizable and some of them are just as they are. And here we see an example. We just go to the report page of the folio or portfolio and click on the report we want to view. In Tempo Planner, the executives can also view status of projects or epics in this case. This is a program overview where we have grouped together teams. So instead of looking at projects or folios, we are viewing teams and the status of the epics that the teams are working on. So if we look at this picture, we have Green Cloud Tango, which is a team. We can see who the team members are. We can see what epics the team is working on and the status of the epics. And then we have a roll-up of estimated hours and worked hours. So that's basically what we are looking at here. We have underneath the epic, we have multiple stories or issues where we have estimated hours. And this is a roll-up of the estimated hours and logged hours of all the issues linked to the epic. And you can see that 2 of the epics are at risk. The reason they are at risk is because the budget set for the epic is lower than the remaining estimate plus the logged work. And the epics that are over budget is because the logged work is more than the original budget for the epic. Then we also have some gadgets that suit well for executives just to get like a high level overview of all logged hours. This is a gadget for Tempo timesheets and it's based on accounts. In Tempo timesheets we have a feature called accounts and you can group accounts into categories. And here we are viewing the categories so we can see for the whole company how much we are spending on different categories that we have created. And we can also create customers within Tempo timesheets. So we have customers that have different accounts. And then we can view the total hours per customers so we can see how many hours we are spending on each customer. Next, I want to show you the account managers. So the account managers are basically working in Tempo timesheets where we have the customers and accounts. And we can get account and customers reports. We can have account approval process. And we can track budgets for contracts and quotes, which is done in Tempo books. And then we have some account specific gadgets to put in the dashboard. First, here's a screenshot from the account report. So this is just a typical account report. You can see if you can see it, it's quite small. But up in the corner we have account report, then we can see the customer, where it says Cloud Bay, if you can see it, then the name of the account, and then we have a detailed report for this given month, what has been done for this particular account. So this could be used as a source for billing, for example. And these reports can be exported. They can be exported to printable view, PDF, and Excel to work with further. If you use the export to PDF, you can add your own logo to the report. So that's actually what we do at Tempo. We have our logo, so we use this as an attachment to the invoice we send to the customer. Then we also have the approval process. You can see the approve button up in the left corner. That's a process we can turn on and off. So if we have it on, we can approve the report before we invoice. In the account report, we can also search for other things, even though it's called the account report. We can search for, every account has account managers, or one account manager who's responsible for the account. So in this case, we have Erika Jefferson. She works at this company and she needs to review her accounts before billing. So she just types in her name and she gets a list of all the accounts she is responsible for. And here there are red dots by every single account, which means that they are not approved yet. So when she approves them, the red dot turns green, and then the invoicing department knows that they can invoice. Here we are also looking at one single account, but we are looking at the budget page for the account. So here we are looking at dollars instead of hours. So and that's in books. So when you have set a price rate to all the team members, it calculates the logged hours times the price rate and how much you have spent on this account. And if you're working, for example, towards a quote, you quote your customer for a certain amount of money, you can set that as the budget for the account, and then you can see if you're under or over budget. We also have for the account manager this gadget, which is, here we're looking at one single customer that has two different accounts. And we can see how we are spending time on each account. And another gadget, also looking at one single account. And in this case, we have set a budget of hours. So this is a monthly budget of hours. And we can see how the logged hours are progressing up to the budget bar. So we can keep track on if we are going over the budget and take action immediately. Next up are project managers. Their focus is in Tempofolio, as I mentioned earlier. There they can manage their folios, portfolios. It's also tightly integrated with Tempo timesheets, so you can sync the work logs for Tempo timesheets to see real data. And then you can also use Tempo timesheets to get reports, detailed reports of the work logs. And as in any project, Folio is looking at the scope, the schedule, and the cost. So this is like the traditional constraint triangle, and it depends whether you can, is the delivery date the main thing, or is the cost the main thing. You can just decide. And when you create a folio, here we have an overview page of the folios. I have created 2 folios, and it's fairly easy to create a new folio. We have both the create new folio button and then also create a new portfolio. If we press on the create folio, we get to select from three different templates. The fourth template is sample folio, which is when you're experimenting with the product. You can create a sample folio just to try it out. But the other three, you have to choose between them when you create a real folio. And it just depends on what you're tracking. If you have internal projects and you're only tracking the cost, then you would select the simple cost management. If you have a client project and you want to track the revenue towards the cost, you would create the cost and revenue management. When you create a folio, this is the first window, a pop-up window that you will see, where you need to define certain things before you move on. You need to define the name of the folio, the start and end date, and then the scope. So these are the three main things you need to know when you start. And the scope of the project or the folio can be defined from three different things. It can be a single Jira project, or it can be multiple Jira projects. It can be a Jira filter or a agile board. So you just decide what you want to use and then you hit create. Here again is the overview page. So when you have created the folio, you've decided the start date, end date, and scope. You will get to this page and it will basically be empty because there's no more data in it. From this page you can always change the start date and the end dates and edit the name and so on. But as I said, this is the overview page. And when you start planning your project, you have all these different pages. So we have the overview page, cost page, revenues, and teams. So this is an example of the cost. And the cost page is split up in planned cost, actual cost, and forecasted cost. And here we see an example of planned cost. This looks like a lot of work to set up, and it is if you want to set it up in so much detail. But you also have the option of setting it up, just put one sum, just have a project that's $1,000 or $1 million or something. And if that's enough for you, then you can just do that and have one line. Then we have the revenues, and that looks exactly like the cost, but we are tracking revenues and not cost. So we have, for example, different price rates for the team. In the cost section we have cost rate, and in the revenue we have price rates. But in both places, both cost and revenue, you can add additional costs. So if you have like equipment cost, leasing, sales, licenses, whatever you have, which is a part of your project or folio, you can add that too. And when you add something to your plan, it's easy to convert it into actual cost. Then we have the team. So this is the team that's working in this folio. There are several ways to create the team. You can add member by member. You can use a team from a previous folio. And it's also integrated with the Tempo teams that you might already have created. So you can allocate members to this folio, which is your project team, and you can allocate them on different dates. So some people might be working on the project for the whole period, 100%. Some people might be working only for a few days in the beginning, middle, and it's all customizable. And then when you set up the team, both for each folio or in global settings, you can choose whether you sync to actual workflows or not. Then to get a detailed report for a project, you can switch to Tempo timesheets, and as we saw earlier, the account reports, we are viewing similar reports here, but we are viewing project reports. And we are viewing more than just a project report, we are actually viewing one version within the project. So in Tempo timesheets, you can basically view reports on anything, because you can create a Jira filter and then report on it. Then over to the team leads. In Tempo, you can create your Tempo teams, and each team has a team lead. And the team lead can access the team timesheet, so he can view the work logs of everyone in his team. He can plan for the team. He can view the capacity reports. And Tempo timesheets also has approval process for user approvals. So if we start by looking at the team timesheet, here we are viewing a team. Green Cloud Wikia is a team. We can see all the team members, and we can see how many hours they have logged for each day. And you can see whether their work logs are up to date or not. So this is a place where the team lead can take a look at the status and then pick up people if they still owe time. And of course, like earlier, the team lead also has access to the team utilization report in Tempo Books. And then if we move to Tempo Planner, the team in Tempo Planner, when we are planning there, we are focusing on teams. So we have our teams and we plan for the team. In this case here, this is a typical Scrum team that works in sprints, and we are planning the sprints for the team. Tempo Planner is integrated with Jira Agile, so if you have created your sprints there, they will show up in the team or in the timeline. And Tempo Planner is better support. It supports hours better than story points. Because when you create your team, you configure something called workload scheme and holiday scheme, which calculates how many hours each day or in each week each member is available. So based on that, the team capacity and individual team members' capacity is calculated. So if you then plan your issues in hours, it's better to compare hours to hours than story points to hours. And in this case, we have planned a sprint called Rocket 6 to the entire team. And the number says 258, so that's calculated from the team's capacity. So over these 2 weeks, the team's capacity is 258 hours. So now we know that we can add stories of combined 250 hours to the sprint. Then when we have planned the sprint on the team, we can dive into the sprint, still viewing the team, and we can see exactly what stories are within the sprint. So here we have unassigned stories, and then we can drag them over to the team members to assign them to the team members. And we can see here the availability also of each team member. So we have the estimated hours of the stories, and we have the availability of each team member, so we know if they can manage the story or not. We can also have some settings when we plan the sprints. We have the name of the sprint, we have the team commitment. So in this case, the team commitment is set to 75%, which changes the capacity of the team for this sprint. We have the dates, and then we have the workload. So the 138%, is telling me that we will not be able to finish all these stories in the sprint. We need this to be below 100%. The team lead also has access to the team capacity report, and we have several views for that report. In this slide we are viewing the percentage planned, so we can see how much has been planned for each team member and for the team as a whole. We can change and view the time available instead if we want to see that, and then we will see the time available in hours. Then if we go to Tempo timesheets, still viewing the team, focusing on the team, we have the team timesheet approvals. So if we are using timesheets to log work, we can turn on the approval process, so each user needs to get approval for his work logs. And the team lead will see an overview of all the team members there, and he can approve or reject the timesheet. And you can see the status of each timesheet. You can add comments when you approve or reject. And you can always see who the reviewer was. It could be someone else than the team lead if he has like a supervisor or someone to fill in if he is on vacation. Last but not least is the team member. The team member's focus is mostly on Tempo timesheets. So here we are viewing team members and we are assuming that they need to log work. And when you are working in Jira and you have Tempo timesheets, it's fairly easy to log work because you are logging work within the same system that you're working in. And each user has his personal user timesheet. He can get reports for him or herself. He has some personal user-based gadgets, and he can log work basically from anywhere within Jira. And then we are also launching a new Tempo mobile app, so the user can also log work directly from his phone. So this is a user timesheet. The user can log work directly from there, clicking on the blue button. Again, we have the user timesheet, and the user can also, because he has a list of issues, he can log work from any cell if he just chooses the issue, the date, and clicks on the cell. In both cases, this pop-up dialog comes up, and you log work. You log the number of hours you work, and then you add a description, which is an optional field, and you log work. If I go, let me see. If we just view this picture again, we also see the progress. The user can see how many hours he's supposed to log and how many hours he has logged, so he knows if he is fulfilling his requirements. And what we can also do, we can close periods, so we can close weeks. So if companies want to force their employees to log work on a weekly basis, we can enable a scheduler that closes 1 week at a time automatically. And then another way to log work, before we were viewing the user timesheet, now we're viewing the work log calendar. So this is a new, fairly recent feature, the work log calendar. It gives you a different view on the same information. So you're viewing 1 week at a time, and then you have a list of issues here to the right, and the list can be configured, so you will have the issues that you actually need, and you just drag the issues to the day you want to log work for. And then when you drop it on the day, the pop-up dialog pops up, and you add the hours and description for your work log. And from here it's easy to copy one workload from, if you're working on the same issue for multiple days, it's easy to, if you hold in control and drag the workload, you're copying it to the next day. And then we have the mobile app. It's in beta version now, so you can sign up to be beta testers, but we will be launching it hopefully before Summit. So it will be available for everyone then. In the mobile app, it's a standalone app, but you can integrate it with your Jira server, and you can also integrate it with Google Calendar. So if you integrate it with both, you will see your meetings from the calendar, and you can convert the meetings into workloads. And then you have access to some personalized reports showing you if you're up to date with your workloads. Well, every user has also access to the overview page for his team. And in this case, the user is part of the Green Cloud Tango team, and he can see the team's agenda. In this case, it's the sprint I showed you earlier, so everything that's planned for this team shows up as the team's agenda, so the user knows what he is supposed to be doing. We also have some user-based gadgets. So we have the user timesheet progress, the user timesheet charts, so you can see planned time versus actual work. And then we have a user agenda, so if you have some issues or Jira projects planned for you, you will see them in the list. So this will be my second last slide. I want to show you a success story from one of our customers. This is a customer based in Norway. They are using both Tempo timesheets and Tempofolio. And I have a video that I would like to play for you.
I work for a company called Resite. We're based in northern Norway. We've been using Tempo for close to 3 years now. Our company's mission is to make the working day more efficient for workers within the utility sector, making sure that they have a tool that can help them reach their goals, to do the work according to their plans and according to government regulations. And time management is an important part of documenting how work is done, and we needed a good tool that could help us with that. The day-to-day problems that I face as a development manager are that our customers change their minds. Maybe there's a critical bug that needs to be fixed. Management wants you to prioritize differently. So plans change all the time. We use Tempo for everyone to register their hours. And this is really important because this is the basis for all the billing that we do to our customers. So it's important to get right. And of course, it makes it a lot simpler when people can just do that directly in the task that they're working on without having to switch to another tool. And being able to trust the numbers that are put into the system is a real time saver. That brings me peace of mind at work. When our customers are happy, that's probably the main factor that makes us successful. If we deliver according to what they expect from us and are happy with the process along the way, then that's success for us. Progress means getting closer to a goal that you have. Maybe it's an end of a project, or when you feel that the customer responds to you and makes good use of your product. Developers are really not into spending a lot of time on administration, and having to go to a separate tool to manage their hours is really a big hassle. So the best feedback that I can get from my developers when they use Tempo is really no feedback at all. It means that the tool does not get in their way. They are able to do their work and they can track the hours right there within the task that they are working on. That's one of the reasons that I really like Tempo. It just works.
Tempo.
Okay, so thank you for listening, and as I said, if you have any questions or if you want to take a look at one product or all products, please come and talk to me and I can show it to you. Thank you.